We made it to the AWFS show in Las Vegas this year, and if you didn't know already, that stands for the Association of Woodworking and Furnishing Suppliers. There are over 500 exhibitors at the show with thousands of attendees, but only 10 of them made my top 10 list. This show has been around since 1911 and accounts for all different genres of woodworking in the industry, whether it's a small hand tool to the industrial sized cabinet machines. But personally for me, I'm always trying to find those next cool tools and innovations that I've never seen before in the tool space. So first things first, let's get to one of the items that made my top 10 list. I've certainly seen a number of track saws in my day, but I've never seen a foldable track saw from Mafell.
So that is the foldable track of our KSS 40 18 volts. It's basically a foldable track, 1.4 meters. Fold it out, lay it out on the material, and now you can put it on the rail and run it down.
And the rail is just this simple little
Yes, we have those
right here?
simple divots here. It's always 3 of them inside of the groove, so you can't twist the saw when you run it on the rail.
And you don't ever have to worry about this warping over time?
No, you just don't want to step on it. That will be permanent. And you just fold it back, roll it all the way up, lock it, twist it in, and then you simply fit it in the sustainer. Put it in the sustainer, dust bag, 2 batteries and a charger inside, close
Voila.
it, and there you go.
Quite the slick little system, and they gave me plenty of demonstrations on how cleanly it cut with the small 18-inch rigid track saw that comes with the kit, or the larger foldable version as well. Now, if you didn't know already, Mafell is more of a higher-end industrial manufacturer that handles much larger saws. We're talking massive saws for extremely large timber building. These tools are not cheap, but they are made to the highest quality standard and really cool to see in person. Now, I know not everyone's in the market for a $1,000+ saw, but there are plenty of other smaller finds that I found very innovative and useful, such as a very innovative carving wheel for your grinder.
This is a milling and carving tool for your angle grinder, made and designed in Germany. I'm from Germany too, from Kaindl, small family-owned company in southwestern of Germany. And it's equipped with tungsten carbide inserts, polished for non-stick, hollow shaped for anti-kickback working, anti-kickback performance, and well, here I have it on the angle grinder, and it works in almost any direction. And whatever I do, it's always safe to work with. There is no kickback, and the disc will not catch inside the material. 2 fingers.
And it's nice that you can actually replace those blades as well.
You can replace, and you can rotate them up to 3 times before you have to replace them.
Amazing. And then you have one other size, correct?
Yes. So the other disc, the orange one, is actually a planner.
Woo! And what's your website?
Our website is www.kaindl.de.
There we go.
This company also had a see-through grinding wheel to actually sharpen blades such as chisels or even multi-tool blades. This one is not available yet in the States, but hopefully in the near future it will be. With this being more of a woodworking and furnishing show, one of the more unique items at this show is the fact that there's so many different cabinetry-based type products. From the very small items to the large ones, there's everything in between, but the thing that caught my eye the most was from Rev-A-Shelf.
Yeah, so this is our mixer lift. And this is probably the most popular product at any of the shows we ever attend. So essentially the mixer lift allows you to take your KitchenAids or any other heavy kitchen items out of the cabinets without straining your back. But what makes this special is it has a soft close piston. So once you disengage the two arms at the bottom, it slowly closes into the back. Now that's a safety feature, it's super nice. But the other cool idea is that if you're lifting and your hands are wet and it slips, it still closes, it's not going to slam to the back of the cabinet, and it protects your KitchenAid device.
That's super nice.
Yeah. And then moving on, obviously walk-in pantries have been a big trend for customers this year, so we wanted to create some dry good pullouts to store produce in various bins. We're showcasing this in walnut, but it's also available in maple. Of course, these are friction slides pulling out, giving you the ability to store your produce there. Next cabinet over, we have our universal knife block. This unit pulls out of the cabinet. It has a universal knife block tech up top that allows you to store any style or any shape of knife up top. You've got a customizable cutting board on the side, and then of course you've got a bin in the back for all your utensils. And what you're starting to see is the trend of Rev-A-Shelf's Craftsman collection. So we wanted to give your kitchen branding and style, so we added aesthetics to all of our units, including curved edges, black inlay. So as we're opening these cabinets, you'll begin to see that trend to make sure that every cabinet you open feels like it's part of a brand or it feels like it's part of a style.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumping in this space right here, we have our utensil bin. Exact same concept, curved edges, black inlay. It's walnut, but also available in maple. But this allows you to store your spoons, your ladles, and all the different accessories along with dry goods underneath. My personal favorite is the trash can. For years, the trash can has been kind of a squared. We're giving it a teardrop look. It's got the radius black inlay, blends perfectly with the blue cabinetry. And then right on top is our entry for this year's awards. It's our two-tier drawer system, but it gives you the paper towels up top, aluminum foil, saran wrap, wax paper, and then underneath you have storage for various options and other stuff underneath. And then once it's closed, you still have access to your paper towels, so you don't have to open your cabinet in order to get access to it.
That's quite amazing. And all these products are available?
That is correct. So the maple options will be available starting in September, and then walnut will be launching a little later on. But the Craftsman collection is what's new from Rev-A-Shelf and where we're headed as a company.
Rev-A-Shelf also had this very unique adjustable cabinet setup where you're able to easily reposition your slides anywhere you so choose, depending on what fits in each shelf. This is really nice based upon the fact that you're normally having to use fasteners to fasten these slides down permanently in place, and then if you want to readjust them, you have to reposition the screws and the hardware itself. This is very nice because all this is vertical rails where you install those, and then you can adjust the slides accordingly. With cabinetry being such a large focus at this show, it really is also about how do you maneuver all of the sheet goods around your shop in a cohesive way. There's a lot of large machinery for this at the show, but the really unique thing that I feel like anyone could utilize in their shop, whether you're building cabinets or at the job site, was a manual sheet good lifting device.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is a panel carrier made in Austria. It's a product which allows you to carry something from one place to another. Let me show it to you. This is a luxury equipment which allows you to put it on the place that you want to and just lift something really ergonomic.
Yeah, so I'm assuming it can work off of not only wood, but maybe like a piece of glass, like a large heavy
Every
piece
material.
of glass. Yeah.
Every material which is not breaking with pressure right here, it works. With stone, metal, plywood, plastic sheets, nearly everything.
Is there a weight capacity?
I would say your biceps.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
How many your biceps can do? We say 100 kilos each grip.
Yep.
But the harder you pull, the tighter it will get.
Yeah.
So yeah, physically your biceps.
And you have different thicknesses too, right? Corrected different versions of it?
Yes, exactly. Small one, the bigger one, and the biggest one. There's these 3 types of versions. And you see the thicknesses where they go
Yep.
are always in this range.
But you also have, now you're developing clamps as well.
Yes, exactly. Same material, same product, but a different use, a multifunctional use.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The same that you can do here. And with this one-armed construction, it allows you to go inside of the material, like you see here in this use.
And what's your website?
iqtools.at.
And you can find them there?
You can order it online by Hoffman in North Carolina, here in the States.
As someone who likes to work with their hands, I still do greatly appreciate tools that just make your day-to-day life easier. But with this show, there are a multitude of tools around that are trying to make the manufacturing process much more straightforward and easy for the individual. Some take the precision out of the worker, whether that is measuring or cutting, but others just take the worker out altogether with these AI-driven arms that are doing basically everything for the individual. Now some of you might be saying, they took our jobs, which in this case it did, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to provide another wealth of job opportunities down the line that we don't even know about. Some things are just never going to be able to replace, especially when it comes to things that are so ornate to the house itself, such as crown molding. If you've ever done it before, you know how time consuming it can be, but this company is making it much, much easier.
So this is the cut and crown system from outlawtoolco.com. And what it does is it handles every problem that you have with cutting crown molding and reduces the entire process to 3 simple steps. The first step is to figure out which jig you need to use. Understand, crown molding is manufactured in 3 different angles. It's called the spring angle. So they actually manufacture crown molding at 38 degrees, 45 degrees, and 52 degrees. And I have each of those jigs. So you just need to figure out which molding you have, and that'll tell you which jig to use. The best way to do that, I've found, is to remember the detailed side of your molding is always the bottom, and the cut on the back side of the bottom determines your spring angle. So if you'll just cut a little 45-degree block and place the molding against any flat surface like it's going to sit on the wall, and you drop your block in there. Now if the block fits, you know you have a 45 because your block is 45. If the gap is larger, that's a 52, and if it won't go down in there all the way, you have a 38. So that's the easiest way to figure out what your spring angle is, and that tells you which jig to use. So that's how easy step 1 is. Once you get the right jig on the saw, remember, a lot of people have commented in the past about corners being out of square. Well, my system covers that. I have a patented protractor where I change the scale to where you don't get all those weird numbers like 135 and 270. It's going to be inside and outside 90s and 45s. So all you ever have to do is measure your corner, divide by 2, and that's your saw setting. And now you're going to correct for all your out of square corners before you ever make the cut. This is also the only protractor ever invented that's long and short at the same time. Sometimes you have a short little return wall you have to measure. So instead of carrying 2 around, it's 2 in 1. So step 2, measure your corner, divide by 2, always set your saw to half the angle of your corner. The third step is to follow the pictures on the back. 95% of all mistakes are made from having to think upside down and backwards from using the old technique. It's just not as simple. I call it brain gymnastics. Whereas with mine, the picture shows you really simple which way the jig goes and which way the molding goes. I want to show you one more thing before I show you how easy the cuts are. I have a special patented roller system because when you have long, flimsy molding, you don't want your molding flopping all over the place. So if you'll notice, it has 2 sides to it. That's because you're going to spin the jig back and forth to make perfect cuts. So when your jig is this way, it goes right in this side. When you spin the jig to make the opposing cut, it goes right in the other side. Now, I want to show you why anybody makes perfect cuts at the correct angle you need to match your wall in my 3 steps. What you're gonna do, whatever corner you want to achieve, divide by 2, that's your saw setting, follow the picture, place your molding, but the magic is to not move the saw. You're gonna make that cut. Remember, instead of moving the saw and going to the other side, you're gonna rotate 180 degrees, watch. And that's how you get a perfect mirror image cut. So what I'm gonna do, reverse the jig, reverse the molding, and make the exact same cut in reverse. Now, I'm only cutting off a little bit at a time, but it doesn't matter if I cut 5 inches or 5 centimeters. A cut is a cut. It's either perfect or it's not. So that's the key. It makes perfect cuts. If you want to be about 2 to 3 times faster than you are right now, and you want to make perfect cuts, you have to stop doing the old way. That's the definition of insanity. Move the saw back and forth, work left-handed half the time, think upside down and backwards, brain gymnastics, and trying to make this a perfect angle is just not going to happen.
And where can you find the product?
So outlawtoolco.com.
Any tool that makes crown molding easier is definitely appreciated, but that also coincides nicely with a trim biscuit joiner. Now this is a product that's an honorable mention from Lamello that's called out as a Zeta biscuit joiner. It basically just provides a very unique cutting pattern into your trim pieces, which you can then slip in these mechanical plastic clips. They provide an extremely snug fit without any need of glue if you want, which basically means that you don't have to worry about those corners ever coming apart over time. Now this was a very cool product that certainly deserved an honorable mention, but there was another item from Lamello that certainly deserved to be on my top 10 list.
This is the Invis, the invisible detachable joining system from Lamello, which is basically nothing else than a screw and a screwdriver that turns the screw. On the other side, obviously, you need a receptacle stud to put the screw in, which we can do here. And you can do this as many times as you like, as long as you reverse the screwdriver in the other direction. So this is the screw, looks like this. This is how it spins. As soon as I put it next to a thread, it's tight. This is what's inside. This is the magnet, okay? See how it turns? This is the magnet that's actuated by this rotating magnetic field. I can put the screw in something else, like this, and can attach it take it off again, attach it somewhere else, take it off again, do this as many times as I want to. This table leg here, one screw holds about 500 pounds, so these 4 screws would hold about 2,000 pounds. Depends how sturdy the material is on the outside.
And what is your website?
It's www.swissinvis.com. It comes from Lamello in Switzerland.
There are some truly inventive tools here that I would never know about if I didn't come to this show. That's basically what happens when you mix ingenuity, a love of woodworking, and of course some high-tech manufacturing that's coming from these amazing companies. Honorable mentions go as follow, whether it's the Shaper tool, which was basically already a handheld CNC machine, but you can now attach it to the Bench Pilot, which does the work for you. Harvey certainly had a number of worthwhile innovations, but the one that caught my eye the most was definitely the industrial grade drill press, which has some smart technology built into it, where it pre-centers the drill for you wherever your X is located, but it also senses any type of body part that is in the way of the drill, so if it is, it stops immediately. With a show like this, we're inevitably going to come across numerous different types of CNC machines. There are a plethora of them out there, and Onefinity got my attention the most because they are able to retrofit their system from a 4x4 to a 4x8 seamlessly without having to buy a whole nother machine. Pretty impressive. But one of the most innovative things that I personally saw at the show was the fact that it completely changed my mindset on how the proper way is to paint a door.
So it's a way to paint interior doors with the door moving instead of the painter, basically. So the way it works is you start by mounting some bases to the bottom of the door that we supply, as well as a V-clip that goes in the hinge pocket. That's gonna let us put a door on this turntable. So there are 2 spikes that hold the door at the bottom, and then I'm going to slide this into a support arm. So now I have 3 contact points with the door, here and then 2 at the bottom. So as you can imagine, the door is not going to fall this way, it wants to fall this way. And so with those supports, it's stable. So now with my foot and operating outside the booth, but I would do my spraying. Once complete, now I have a wet door that I need to remove from the booth. And I do that with these handholds. So I'm going to have one that goes through the doorknob. I pull that away, still on the track, and I rotate it here, so now I can easily lift and control an interior door, right? And it really doesn't feel like that much weight because it's so close to my body, but I'm still not touching it. So I can come and put it wherever I want.
Those feet means that you can set it and forget
Yep,
it.
exactly. And I can nest doors together. So I can put them close together. They're tapered, so I can get them really close. Yeah, this is available online and at some dealers.
Where online?
Thepaintline.com.
Paintline really does have an amazing array of different product lines that you can choose from that involve the painting realm, especially when it comes to doors and cabinetry. So just keep that in mind, and also know that with any of the items listed in my top 10, I'll make sure and have a link for it in the description of this video. The industrial side of woodworking is so fascinating to me because there's so many different realms that I have never thought about before. There is a need for all of these tools and materials in more of an industrial setting, like a massive table saw that accounts for where your hands are, or what are you going to do with all that scrap wood? Guess what? There's a machine to get rid of it. Are you in the need for machines that wrap materials, whether it's lumber or large boxes? Yeah. There's a company for you at this show, and it's all so interesting from my perspective. But the one thing that I certainly would want personally in my own shop when considered purchasing was a negative air dust collection system. Yes, negative.
Now, I've heard of dust collection before, but I've never heard of dust collection like this. What is this?
This is Denray's 3672B model. So it's 3400 CFM. This is our most popular size. This is fully self-contained unit. Has cartridge filters in there. Dust drawer in the bottom down here. And you just empty the drawer at the end of when you're done at the end of the day. The air tank built in. You plumb in 100, 120 PSI of air. Push button on the side over there, and it blasts the filters clean and cleans all the dust down into the drawer down near the finished.
And like I said before, there's not a lot of suction here, but
yeah,
why is it so good at collecting the dust?
Because this is actually negative air. And on the fan, you can feel behind the fan, in front of the fan. So it's actually the same amount of air moving through, except for you can feel the positive air a lot better than you can the negative air.
That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
And is this section over here work differently than over here?
Yeah, this table is a different option. So whenever you have another option you can add on, this is called our bob. It's actually a blow-off backdraft. So when you're done sanding, you can actually take your air blower and blow it off, and it'll all capture it all in the back of the machine into the unit.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yep.
And where can you find this?
You can contact us at denray.com.
A negative air unit like this was so intriguing to me personally because it was so gratifying to see all of that dust being collected with something that didn't have much sucking power in terms of feel. But it really did an incredible job, and as you can imagine, with a show that's involving around woodworking, dust collection is something that everyone takes quite seriously. Whether it's a big negative air collection unit, or a medium-sized unit, or a smaller scale unit just for your sander, there are so many different types of dust collection systems at this show. But obviously, not all types of machinery can handle dust collection. Case in point, meet the Prazi beam cutter.
This is the Prazi 12-inch beam cutter. It just snaps right on your saw, just like changing a blade. You take your circular blade off, pop it on, one bolt in the center and one bolt on the side. We make one for a non-worm drive saw and we make one for the worm drive saw. And it just snaps right on. In 2 minutes, you've got the ability to cut up to 12 inches. We also manufacture the 18-inch model. The 18-inch requires a worm drive saw, Skill, Bosch, Makita, DeWalt, and basically, again, it attaches right on your saw, just like changing a blade. With the 18-inch, we can get 14 inches on a 45, we can get a full 18 inches on a 90, which is 3 times the cutting capacity of a 16-inch Makita beam saw. Once on, I can go in. The chain turns the opposite direction of a chainsaw. So when I go in to cut, the beam cutter is pulling away from me. There's no kickback. And watch how easy it cuts. I can use one hand. And you get a perfect cut every time, up to 18 inches.
The owner of Prazi was definitely quite the character, as you can imagine, but they also had a number of other small unique items like a pencil that was shaped into a utility knife or a utility blade that also had multifunctional uses for it. Pretty slick, and that's also just the beauty of this show because there's so many different cool tools that you find throughout your adventures of walking the show. Final honorable mentions go as follow. Unita had this really cool 3-sided sanding pad specifically designed to get into those really tight-knit corners and crevices when sanding cabinetry. The Morgan Square by Kiwi Vision was definitely a really slick device that you can incorporate in your construction framing, especially when it comes to layout. Grex had an amazing lineup of finished nailers for cabinetry specifically, but through my walkthrough with them, there were so many mini hidden features within their product, such as literally a hammer built into your nailer and designed to be a hammer. But the final item that made my top 10 lists was involved in the painting realm, and this is because it is a paintbrush that never runs out of paint thanks to a backpack filled with paint.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Michael with Pro Power Brush. Today we're showing off the automatic paintbrush. Articulating head, adjustable in any way. We have 4-inch, 3-inch, and 6-inch heads. You push this button and it automatically feeds paint through the bristles. With the regulator right here to control the flow. You could have a little bit of paint or you could have a lot of paint. It also works as a backpack. Strap it on, basically go to town.
There we go. And how much does this hold?
20 liters?
Yep. Wow.
All day.
That's pretty incredible. Do you have to put air in this at all?
No, you just charge it right here.
How long of a charge does it last?
24 hours.
24 hours?
24 hours, yeah.
24 hours of use.
Yep, and then this is the self-mixing, so you'll turn this on and it agitates
it has a self-mixer in there?
Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yep.
And where can you get this?
ProPowerBrush.com.
And that is my top 10 list, but if you stuck with me this long, you might as well stick a little bit further to see what my top favorite booth was at this year's show. Personally, I found enjoyment at an array of different booths. From the small ones to the large ones and anything in between, there is an item of enjoyment for a lot of different people at this show. But personally, I found that the Bloom booth was just an overall enjoyable experience to walk through, mainly because there were so many different aspects of the booth. There was mechanical aspects of showing different tools from Bloom that help the installer install the products correctly and efficiently, but they also had plenty of cabinetry setups so you can personally feel and touch how smooth their system truly is. This 2-in-1 door cabinet slide that also had this perfect push click to open was very appealing from my perspective, but one of the more impressive things was this simple little toe kick that with any other cabinet is just a toe kick, but in this circumstance it is so much more since you're able to stand on it to reach above head for harder reached items, but you also have a storage unit built into that toe kick, which just brings it up to another level. Plus, there is a plethora of other cabinet hardware options that I certainly never thought was even possible until I came to this show and realized I can be doing so much more with my cabinetry. I truly enjoyed my time at AWFS this year, and if you've watched this whole video all the way through, please let me know in the comment section which one of these top 10 items would make it in your home or at your job site. And if you personally went to this show and didn't see your favorite item on the list, please let me know in the comment section as well. I always want to see what I potentially miss and could see in the near future. But in any case, thank you so much for watching, you beautiful sexy bees, and hope to see you at next year's show, which is in 2027. Oh yeah,